I did a story on Connie and Teresa's shelter years ago. I'm not even sure I remember the date, though Connie always did. But I and my producer Don Mosley went to St. Martin de Porres when it was in that little drugstore. They had just begun. Connie and Teresa were sleeping in the kitchen on cots. Women whom they'd begun to house were chopping down the wall with hammers, knocking out bricks and mortar to make more room for the women and the kids. And I remember Teresa at the time saying to me, Teresa didn't want to be interviewed at all for our story. Let Connie talk, she said. But finally we persuaded her. And Teresa said the hardest thing she had to do was to turn someone away because they didn't have room. And you could see it in her face, how hard that is.
"25 years to 26 years ago, my Mother General had suggested that I broaden my horizons. A friend of our community, Connie Driscoll, came through, and she too was in a search for, she was working with the Indians in Colorado, and she was searching for something, but she didn't know what she was looking for either. It was my brother who gave us this article from the Tribune showing a very stark picture of some of the homeless in Chicago. May of 1983 is when we actually opened the doors to the shelter. And when we did, we didn't have very much, believe me. In fact, we didn't even have electricity. We weren't aware of that until we got in there, that there was a problem, but we still went in anyhow. And then in the evening, we just had the street lights, you know, to get us through. We didn't know a whole lot about people living in shelters, and so they were able to put a lot over on us at first. But then when we became wise to how to handle these problems, a lot of things changed. We discovered that a lot of the problem that caused the homelessness was drugs or alcohol. At first, when we moved in here, we were still half for the homeless and half for the homeless that were recovering. And there again, it didn't take long till we knew we couldn't do both programs because they're different. So then we went to 100% recovering addicts.
It was Sister Connie and Sister Teresa's vision and their concept and how they've carried it through, and it really is not a job. It's not a career. It is their life, and that's what they've devoted themselves to. And there's no way that you could hire someone to do that.
St. Martin de Porres is a man who has certain gifts we want to emulate, and that is that he is a man of healing, he's a man of caring, and he brings to this what we want to achieve with the women that are really without resources in the city.
He was abandoned by his father, and his mother had to struggle raising him just like our women have to.
They are definitely people who have few choices and really have to have a structure in which to get well in. And it's really a wellness of the spirit and of the soul, and it's we know that we feed them well, we know that we really do certain things that help them, but it's really the spirit and the soul that we are really concerned about.
You have to have hope and faith if you're going to make it. You can't just go through a very physical program. It has to be spiritual. It's a very busy day. It starts early at 6 o'clock in the morning, and ordinarily at 10:30 at night, the last person is going to bed.
We have some very structured programming. That is case management, where a person comes in, there's an intake that takes place, there's a case management services that really identify where the person is, and then begin to do some mutual planning with that person.
The disease of addiction is always with them, and whether they're clean or sober for many, many long years or not, the disease is still dormant within their bodies, and the obsession of the mind and the allergic reaction of their bodies toward the drug or toward the alcohol will always be there.
What better thing in life to be so much a part of helping so many people find themselves, you know, and to be happy and to know that this happiness is theirs if they want it. It's not going to be easy. The road's not going to be easy. But if they truly want it, we're here to help them.
They respond so positively to any type of encouragement you give them. So where they may not have met success, you know, in the past with their schooling and so on, and some of them have been out of school for 20 years, they come here and they say, oh, I don't want to do this. But I think we encourage them to give it a try anyway and to work on it. As you come through the main entrance here, there's a bunch of photographs on kind of like the Hall of Fame, and you see women all dressed up in academic gowns. And so when they do get their GED, typically the state just sends you a piece of paper in the mail, but we make a big deal about it. So we have, I get academic gowns, white academic gowns. We come here in the dining room and I play Pomp and Circumstances, and we have a cake with their name on it, and we give them a dozen roses, and we really make it a big deal. So it's a big party is held.
There's an example here of a success that is so phenomenal, and that is the return of ex-residents who have formed an association. It's called the Alumni Association, that really gives back. They mentor the women, they take the women to look for apartments, they also are there to take women to meetings, and because we really follow the NAAA philosophy that, you know, we weren't able to manage our lives out there, and so now we need some help in managing our lives to really get better and to stay sober and clean.
Our shelter today is really run by most of the women that went through our program and decided that they wanted to stay and to still be part of the whole process of helping other people.
I was addicted to cocaine.
It had got to a point in my life, in my addiction, whereas I felt that dying would have been easier than living.
When I started using drugs, it was just a party and have fun. Never did I think it was going to become a habit and destroy my life.
I was truly tired of using drugs and alcohol. And I was more so determined because I had been in other treatment facilities and recovery houses before.
When I went into a facility, when I made a decision that I didn't want to use any more drugs, I had been raped. I had been raped and became pregnant.
I guess in the beginning, I thought I wanted to die. But in reality, I no longer knew how to live.
I knew if I went home, if I went back to where I called home, I was going to use EN.
It destroyed my life, how I couldn't keep a job. I mean, I finished high school, had some college before coming into this program.
I wanted to find somewhere else to come, and counselors directed me here to the House of Hope.
I was neglecting my son because of the fact that drugs became more important.
I didn't begin to get my life together until I entered St. Martin's June the 12th, 2001. And when I walked through these doors, I didn't really think I wanted to stay because of the structure and the things that they had going on. I felt, well, wow, do I really want to do this? But I knew in my heart I wanted to learn how to stay clean.
After I got here, I came to realize this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It gave me structure back in my life. It gave me hope, something I had lost so long ago.
They helped me with my life building skills that I already had, and they just enhanced them. They helped me with my computer, and how to sell myself on the job, interviewing and everything.
I didn't realize the intensity of this process of recovery until I came here.
I went into the office to speak with Sister Connie and just tell her how I was doing, because they always would check on me. And she said to me, she said, Sylvia, I don't know what is going on with you. She told me, she said, the only thing I can tell you is that God has great things in store for you.